feel too tall if I stand on that wooden thing down here, so I'm gonna take it down a little bit. First, I want to thank Joe, Delia, the choir, for being able to pivot on the spot, like literally this morning. So thank you for sharing your musical gifts with us this day. And I think they deserve a round of applause for that. Carrying our worship. Well, I just want to, I hope you're not too excited that it says 6 words on Mary. Are you? You can be. But I just have a couple of things to say before I get to the actual sermon. So I wanted to let you know that each year on one Sunday in Advent, the church focuses on the Blessed Virgin Mary, acknowledging her fierce love and faithful response, right? Now, as Presbyterians, we typically celebrate it on the 3rd Sunday, but I know others who celebrate it on the 4th Sunday. In the Catholic tradition, that's often what they do, the Sunday of Love, right before Jesus comes into the world again, right? But today we were celebrating Mary because we had the opportunity to get the Hayes singers and players in, and unfortunately that did not work out, but we had the lovely story sung to us, the Magnificat, by our choir. So thank you again for that. The church celebrates Mary not just because of her obvious role in the whole thing in Christmas, right? But I think sometimes the real reason that the church proposes Mary to us as Christmas nears is because she is a model of how we should be living our Advent. Mary, in some sense, is Advent personified. God, the Creator, had prepared her from the first moment of her life to be a worthy mother of God's Son, and like a faithful daughter of Israel, she had prayed throughout her youth for the coming of the Messiah, but I bet you she wasn't praying for what happened, right? I mean, how overwhelming. We'll get to that in a second. When she was a young girl, she discovered that she was a part of God's answer to that prayer, but in a way that would far have exceeded any Hebrew maiden's prayers. Not only would the Messiah be her son, but her son would also be God. Her yes to the Archangel Gabriel launched the proximate preparation for the birth of Jesus, the Messiah. Now, I'm just going to tell you a little story. When I was pregnant with my firstborn son, it was about 9 months or so, just right at the end there. And my mom called me, and I was just so distraught, and, Mom, I don't know what I'm going to do. What was I thinking to even have children? It's too overwhelming. I can't handle this. Oh, my goodness, what am I going to do? I can't go back, right? Not that I didn't want children. I did, but all of a sudden in the 9th month, I was just petrified. So I asked her, we all have a little dysfunction in our lives, right? Raise your hand if you have dysfunction in your family life, please. If not all of you raise your hand, I don't know who you are, but I know we did, and so we all have our brand, right? But I asked my mom, I'm like, and now I'm in tears. I'm like, Mom, do you really think I could do this? Like, I just don't know. And I said, you screwed me up so badly, And I'm sorry if I said that in church, but she did. They did, right? I said, am I going to mess up my kids? And she goes, oh, honey, a little. Yes, a little. I mean, parenting is daunting. It's overwhelming. It's challenging. It's really hard at times. And also, I have a friend from seminary who, while at the same time I was pregnant in seminary, I was asking him, because he had 6 kids. He was an attorney, 20 years older than me, had it all down, but second career pastor, going to school to be a pastor. And I said, Randy, how do you do it? What do you make sense of all this? I mean, you've got 6 kids. And he said, you know what, Jennifer, it's easy math. He goes, kids double your trouble, but you know what? They triple your joy. And I thought, oh, I like that. I can work with that, right? Well, I cannot begin to imagine how this young teen girl, yes, that's right, young teen girl, must have felt acknowledging what she was called to do by God. Mary was most likely around 13, 14, 15 years old. I was 31 when I was pregnant with my son. I went to college. I had a job. Not so with Mary. She was betrothed, which is just a fancy word for engaged, right? But back then, it's important to know, too, that it was almost a marriage. Not quite, not just yet, but it was equal to marriage in that sense, but to an older man who was probably twice her age. And here's a little secret for you. He wasn't even the real father. Right? Right. So what in the world would Joseph do? Would he stick around after hearing this kind of news? I don't know. What would her parents think? What would the neighbors say? And how would the church gossip? Right? Mary, I don't know if I could have done it this way, but Mary seemed to be cool, calm, and collected. She trusted in the God of the universe to meet her where she was, and she trusted with her whole heart. Sure, there was fear, right? When is there not? But like my friend Randy basically said, the joy outweighed it all. So this morning, I ask you to ponder throughout this week the 6 words I'm going to share with you. And by the way, 6-word sermons are pretty important because it really helps you distill and get to the point. Look at all those words. Do you see? Oh, they aren't printed in the bulletin, are they? There were a lot of words that Chuck shared this morning, right? We get the Gabriel part. We get the Magnificat part. I'm going to distill it down to you in 6 words, and I hope you carry it with you this week. And think about Mary. Think about her position in this whole story and how difficult it must have been for her. But here we are, the 6 words. Mary, daughter, wife, mother of God. And all of God's people together say, Amen.